Welcome, friends. Whether you're out on a walk, running errands, or relaxing at home, it's wonderful to connect with you. Joining us today is Mark DeCarlo. Now, Mark is an Emmy Award winning comedian, best selling author, and in demand corporate speaker and leadership trainer who will, listen now, who will convince you that the most important thing in life is being happy. Mark, welcome to Phoenix and Flame.
Good to be with you, Dana. Thanks for having me on.
This is going to be fun. I have so many questions, but I wanted to give you some space to just kind of share with the listeners, the viewers, a little bit about your background. I know that you've had a near death experience when you were younger. There's all kinds of things. Just kind of share with us a little bit about your journey, about how you ended up where you are right now, and why the focus on happiness.
Well, let's start at the end. You mentioned that I think the most important thing in life is finding happiness. What 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 is more important? Everything we do all the time should be focused on that. Now, the trick is everyone defines happiness differently, you know? Some people define happiness as a $400,000 car, some define it as laying on a beach, some define it differently. So, really, I think the only job that every human being has to tackle during their lifetime is understanding themselves and finding their purpose, because if you know your purpose, you know how to be happy. Because you could be the richest person in the world, and if you're not happy, you wasted your life. And I kinda came to this realization very young. I had a near-death experience when I was in high school. I was on the track team. Somebody threw a 16-pound shot put the wrong direction. It hit me. I burst my spleen. I almost died. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. Never went back to school that year. And I realized at the age of, I don't know, 16, 17, that I coulda died. That was the first thing the doctor said to me after I was, like, unconscious for 3 days. He comes into my room. I wake up, and he's like, "Oh, another 10 minutes, you would have been dead." Um,
Thanks for
which
sharing.
is and it's like, "Hey, I'm awake now." Um, I don't think most young people, think that way, nor should they necessarily think that way. You know, you've got your whole life ahead of you, but it's true. Everyone listening to this show will be dead by the year 2100, probably, right?
None of us are escaping this alive.
Right, exactly. So I think our most important resource is time. And if every day you waste not being happy is a wasted day. So since that time in high school, I've tried to orient my life towards making every choice, using the lens to make every choice as, will doing this thing make me more happy or less happy? And I think about it, and I choose the thing that I think will make me more happy. I've made many mistakes, but in the moment, that's always my choice, not what is going to make me more money or what's gonna make me more popular or what's gonna, whatever. I know what makes me happy because I tried a lot of things. That when I talk to, young people and students and people just starting their careers, it astounds me when I ask them, "What do you wanna be when you grow up?" And they go, "Well, I don't know. I suppose I'll be a whatever." And I think that's a function of not trying a million things. Try pottery, try working on cars, try singing, try dancing, try everything, and every time you find something you hate, that's a win. You cross it off your list.
I love it.
Right? And then eventually, the things that you enjoy doing, the list gets smaller, and then all you have to do is pick something on that list and figure out a way to make a living from it. And if that is the template that you can live every day of your life through, you automatically end up happy, and you just have to stay in touch with yourself, because what makes you happy when you're 20 may not still make you happy when you're 40. So
Mhm.
you have to continue to check in with yourself and identify your purpose and stay close to that. And I think if you do, regardless of all the other variables and all the other chaos that life throws at you, you can maintain your happiness. And if you're happy, what else is there?
Wow. So I've got several notes that I've written while you just in what you've shared so far. So, because being a psychotherapist, I not only have my own experience, but I also have heard so many other people's experience because it is such a blessing and a privilege to be able to sit across from someone in a room in a place that is confidential. It's no judgment and they can just be honest about their struggles. And so many stories are running through my head and so many comments about this
Mhm.
pursuit of happiness. And so one of the things, okay, one of the things that you said, and I'm going to get to all of them eventually, was it really calls us to challenge our definition of failure because I hear you say, try jump throw the spaghetti on the wall, try all
Fail.
this, and because people think, oh my gosh, I'm so fear is something that is so strong and keeps people wrapped up. That is the biggest thing that I deal with in my practice,
Fear
bar
is
none.
only and always self-destructive. Always. There's no good use for fear. Fear is something that's buried deep in our reptilian complex of our brain because when it was 100,000 years ago and we were being chased by a cheetah, it was good to be afraid. I have not been chased by a cheetah lately. Caution is different than fear, right? I'm not going to go jump in front of a bus, but if I don't leave my house because I'm afraid a bus is going to jump the curb and crush me, you you're wasting your life. And if you don't fail, you're not pushing hard enough. I've been in comedy my whole adult life, and I have failed miserably on stage over and over and over and over again. And after the first couple times you do it, you realize, okay, these these 70 people didn't laugh at me today. Okay, I'll be
Okay.
fine, right? It's not going to kill me. Um, and you have to, you know, e everyone has different language to describe the same realities, right? Pushing the envelope, putting yourself out there. If you're not trying things and failing, how will you ever know what you like,
That's
right? Yeah.
that's it. I was it Thomas Edison that said, "I've never failed. I've simply found 10,000 ways that don't work." And so
10,221 ways that didn't work. And that didn't stop him. He kept developing the light bulb until he found the one way that worked. And that is that's the scientific method. You come up with an idea, you test it, and if it fails, you tinker and you change until it doesn't fail anymore.
and the thing of it is you have to keep going because I think that's tied in with happiness as well, is there what
Yeah.
I'm hearing you say and being an entrepreneur myself, it's that there's so many times where you're trying and failing, and then happiness starts to seem like something far off, like a mirage that keeps moving in the desert. And I know that I have listeners and viewers right now that are listening to us going, well, okay, but there's so much in my life right now. I feel like pursuing my happiness is like the lowest thing on my totem pole. And I know they're thinking that. And when I saw your bio and what your passion was about, I so wanted to have this conversation to hear what you would say to those people. Cause you know, the ones I'm talking about, they're out there, they feel like they have 500 pounds of burden on their shoulders, expectations of themselves, other people's expectations of them. They feel like they're not living up to these expectations. They feel like they're in a cage that they can't get out of. And happiness feels like you're talking to them in Russian. Like they don't even know what does that even mean? Why should I even care about that? I'm just trying to, put food on the table or not have a mental breakdown. But what
Right.
would you share with people that maybe feel like that right now and are listening to you?
Well, everybody feels like that. First of all, you're not alone. Life is challenging. The universe, the physical universe exists on entropy. The whole force of the universe tends towards disorganization and chaos. That's how it is. You know how you can test that? Take a glass and drop it. When it hits the ground, entropy happens. It scatters. It's not going to go back together by itself. It takes energy to put it back together and fix it.
Mhm.
So you're never going to stop the chaos. And the first thing I would say is people that expect to stop or control the chaos are being foolish. It's impossible to happen. What you have to do is develop a system for taking the chaos in and using it to your advantage. I'm an actor and I audition many, many, many times for every job that I get hired for. That's how it is. And if I was depressed every time I thought I did a great audition and get the job, this wouldn't be the job for me. So if you feel like I get you have to make a living. You got to put food on the table. But a lot of people have this myth or this erroneous thought that if I just work harder and work longer, then I'll make more money and then I'll be happy. That's backwards. If you start happy, then that means you know what makes you happy. Do those things and you'll find a way to make a living from those things. And then you'll have the money and you'll have the peace of mind. Again, no one's getting out of this alive. So if you just think you're gonna, "Oh, I'll suffer for 5 years at this job because I wanna make the money and then I'll go do something," you're gonna wake up when you're 62 and go, "Shit, I was here for 60 years and I'm miserable, and now I got a huge pile of money and I'm too tired or miserable to spend it." It there
Mhm.
there it is it's a nebulous concept, and it's unlike, taking your vitamins. There's no one prescription that fits everyone. The fact that we're all different means that we all have a different idea of happiness or a different thing that will make us happy. So until you have done enough things, tried enough, what I tell people is when I start a workshop at a school or at a company, I'm like, all right, all the phones are away. When was the last time you were really happy? What were you doing? And what about the time before that? And the time before that? And the time before that? So of these, the last 10 times you think you can remember being happy, 7 of those times you were working on your car. I don't know, maybe quit your job in finance and become a mechanic. People don't even realize, I think, that they have the keys to their own life, that they can make these kinds of choices. Well, my parents were doctors, so I just assumed I had to be a doctor, even though I hate the sight of blood. So I'm a doctor and I got a Mercedes and a big house, but man, I hate going to work and
It's like
you
something
can
they're chasing. But what I'm
right.
hearing you say is it's something internal. It kind of reminds me of, do you remember the horror show? I think it was Friday the 13th, where there was a babysitter and she was inside a house and she was babysitting a boy. And she got a phone call, really scary phone call, and it was from the bad guy, the scary guy, right? And so she called the police and said, "Would you please, trace this? Where's this coming from? Figure out where it's coming from." And when they called, did
It's
you see
coming
this?
inside.
I know. It's coming from inside the house, right? That's what I'm thinking of as you're talking is that this happiness, this ability to be happy is not something that we're chasing. It's not something that's gonna be at a car lot. It's not something that's gonna be at the next fancy house. It's not something that's gonna be with some kind of $20,000 handbag hanging off your arm. It's inside of us.
Right, and we live in a consumer culture, so propagating that truth doesn't serve any business, right? You'll be happier if you buy this $20,000 handbag. Look at all your friends with their Botoxed faces. They're happy, I think. Can't really tell, but they have their $20,000 bags. I'm sure you need a new car. You're a 50-year-old fat bald guy? Get yourself a Porsche and you'll get a new girlfriend. I mean,
And then
the
you'll be
enti
happy then, right?
right, exactly. I mean, the Capitalism exists for a very good reason, and the consumer culture has to exist. But don't be suckered into something. The hard part is taking the time to really ask yourself, what makes me happy? And then once you've determined that 7 of the last 10 times you were happy you were working on your car, figure out a way to make money working on cars. And then you will be happy and you'll have money.
Yes. So I have a
Now,
very
is that easy to
elemental
do?
well,
It's not
no.
easy to do if you have a spouse and kids and bills and a mortgage. I'm not saying it's easy, but what I'm saying is the alternative is a life of less than happy is a more dire outcome as far as I'm concerned. I'd rather put in the work. I'd rather work my day job that I hate and try and find a job to be a mechanic at night and on the weekends and work double duty for 6 months until I could make that transition than stick in a job that I hate for, my whole career.
Mhm. Right. So I have a rather elemental question for you.
Okay.
And the question is, how does someone know if they're happy? Because and the reason why I ask this is because number 1, there's a lot of people that have just from the jump, they're just racing after something, and so they never really stop to think about being happy or not happy. That's not even on their radar screen. That's not
That's what I'm
even
saying.
right? And another thing along the same lines is you have people that they're in situations like you're describing that they are very unhappy, they're, uncomfortable, they're in fear, they're whatever, fill in the blank, and because of that, they turn to sometimes it's substances, sometimes it's, buying a lot of things, sometimes it's sex, it can be any number of things that people use to avoid the real issues that are going on in their life. But see, when they're doing these things, they think they're happy when they're, drinking the beer, when they're buying the handbag, when they're, gambling, when they think they're happy at those moments. So I was wondering if there's someone that's listening that has been kind of caught up in that labyrinth, caught up in that cycle, how and they're thinking, well, I'm trying to listen to Mark, but I don't know if I can really define or know when am I happy? How do I know that?
That's an excellent point and an excellent question. All of those things that you just listed, you're elated. You feel the dopamine rush for a moment, but 10 minutes later, you wanna go buy another $10,000 handbag. Happiness and I'm not talking like I'm giddy and giggling 24/7. I'm happiness is you wake up every day and you're happy that you're gonna go do your job, or you're happy you're gonna hang out with your family, and you just feel good. When you feel good, when you are happy, the chemistry in your brain changes. Your brain releases more serotonin and dopamine and positive endorphins, and you feel better. You're in a better mood. You've got the mojo working. You're in the zone. There are a million ways to describe it. And when you're in that mindset, you're 31% more productive at work. You have an 80% greater chance of sticking with the job that you have. There are many, many, many benefits for business to invest in these wellness programs as there are for the individual. I mean,
Mhm.
everyone's definition of feeling good, I guess, is different. But I mean, to me, it's a binary thing. I'm either in a good mood today or in a bad mood, and I get in bad moods all the time. But I realize that you know, what I'm pissed off about is doesn't really matter. And then I reorient myself towards, today's going to be a good day. And it takes effort and takes energy and it takes a belief um, in yourself. Another thing that happened to me really early in life, I was really, really, really fat in high school. I was 250 pounds when I was a freshman, 5'8, 5'10, 250, just a big fat kid. Girls wouldn't talk to me. And one day I had to run 50 yards to catch the bus, and I was out of breath for 20 minutes. And I remember clearly thinking to myself, I am never going to kiss a girl unless I lose some weight. And I had tried diets very secretively in the past. This time I figured, all right, I'm gonna approach this problem differently. I told everybody I knew, told everyone in my family, I'm gonna lose 80 pounds by my birthday. I told all my friends at school, I told my teachers, I told my coach, I told everybody, I'm gonna lose 80 pounds by my birthday. And what happened surprised me. Instead of being mocked and made fun of, my real friends were like, cool, what can we do? I ended up running every day after school with the girls' cross country team because I couldn't no way I could keep up with the boys, but I had a couple girlfriends from the drama club, and they were like, "Well, come run with us." And I was able to sort of keep up with them. And I got support, and once you start to see results, it's easier to stay on that path. And 6 months later on my birthday, I had lost 80 pounds, changed my entire life. And the going through the process of that taught me personally that anything anybody, any normal person can do in this life, so can I. I'm not an Olympic athlete. I'm not, an elite anything. But if just a regular person can accomplish something, so can I.
Okay. Yeah.
And that belief in myself powers the happiness. It's like, well, if people can be happy, so can I. And I think a lot of people are debilitated by fear, what we were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
"Oh, I could never try that. I could never stand on a stage and tell a joke. I could never go work on a car. I don't wanna fail." If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. Full stop. And if
I
you
love that.
if you think you wanna be a comedian and you try it 20 times and you're horrible, you're probably not gonna be a comedian. But you can be a comedian's agent, or you could own a club, or you could do something else. You need to try, especially if you're, single and not horribly in debt, and the consequences for mistakes are lower when you're 20 than they are when you're 40. Try everything, right? All my friends love going on boats. I do not. I have tried being on
I do
boats
not.
several times. I don't like how it makes me feel. They sink, sharks eat you. Not interested. So I know that I don't like boats. So I'm not going to join the Navy, but I might join the Air Force. So it's incumbent on people. It's kind of like the difference between Eastern and Western religions. Western religions in general say, all right, there's a God up there. You personally can't talk to him. I'll talk to him for you. And then I'll tell you what he says. And then you give me some money. And then I'll tell you more what he says. And there's an intermediary. It's not you. It's easier. You go to church every Sunday. You tell the priest, I did all these horrible things. And he goes, that's cool. Say 5 Hail Marys and drop 20 bucks in the bucket. Whereas Eastern religions, they teach you to meditate and do those kind of things where you personally are connecting to God or the universe or whatever you want to call it. So it is more difficult to achieve, but it's participatory. You are doing it. There's no intermediary modulating that conversation. So it takes more of your energy and focus, but as a result, it's more, I think, rewarding than
Mhm.
and I went to Catholic school for 12 years, so, I think I know a little bit about the Western
About
side of it.
about that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Well,
it again, it's just happiness and fear are, I think, mutually exclusive, and fear is pointless and always self-destructive, so just don't I know it sounds stupid and impossible, but don't be afraid of stuff. It's the if you just decide, "I'm not going to be afraid of stuff," you won't be.
well,
A
the
and
thing,
again,
but
you could be afraid of a lion, but don't be stupid.
it's like we're and from my perspective, it's we're gonna be afraid and just do it the fuck anyway, right? Just do it anyway. Because to wait till we're not afraid, I don't know. I mean, you're a better man than me because but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna feel my heart
Oh,
pounding. I'm gonna feel
sure.
myself getting moist in the pits, right? Getting up doing things.
Right.
But I'm gonna ignore that and I'm just gonna keep doing it anyway. And if I fall on my face, I fall on my face, and then I've got a story to tell.
And then you get up. Yes,
Remember the
exactly.
time?
Yeah, I'm not saying that that fear doesn't happen. What I'm saying is we give fear the power. Yes, your heart's gonna pound. You're gonna be nervous but so what?
Yeah,
Try
so
it.
what, and?
There's no shame in trying your hardest and failing. There just isn't.
It's like,
You
ask
know
the questions, you know? It's just like if
Right.
fear is standing between you and happiness, then, like, I don't wanna do that because that person's gonna think I'm stupid. Well, they might, okay? Let's be honest, they might think you're stupid,
Who
and
cares? Yeah, exactly.
and
Plenty of
yeah,
people think I'm
we can't
stupid. I
because I
don't
don't like it
care.
when somebody says, "Oh, they're not gonna think you're stupid." Yeah, they might. Okay, let's just be brutally honest here. They might think you're
Right,
just dumb as rocks. They
right.
might think that, but and it just okay, move move along. Just
Right, and
k
they think that because you trying something difficult makes them nervous because they're too afraid to do it themselves.
oh.
And it's easier to mock someone who tries it, and then when they fail, say, "See, I told you."
Well, and they're
But
sitting in a chair watching, so
right, every great accomplishment, every little accomplishment happens because someone sticks their neck out and tries something. Winning, we're in the middle of the Olympics right now. Winning a gold medal, winning a medal, getting on an Olympic team
mhm.
there are 330 million people in America, and there's, 150 people on our American Olympic team. To get to that point takes dedication and focus and genetics and all kinds of stuff. And there are people who tried really hard and didn't make it. But it doesn't mean that that effort was in vain. The mentality is I'll be back in 4 years. I'll be on the team then because practicing skiing or practicing hockey or practicing curling for some reason makes me happy, right?
And you know what? Even if they tried again and didn't make it and had to pivot, okay. Like you said earlier, life is about there's entropy happening all over the place. Sometimes we just have to pivot. And so what? Pivot doesn't mean failure. It means you tried something for a while, you tried your very best. And I learned a long time ago. I actually started out in physical therapy. I applied, and that was back in the day. I guess they still say this where you can do whatever you want as long as you're trying your best. That's baloney, by the way, right? We'll have to say because we can try our very best at something, but if that's not meant for us, if we're not good enough for that, there's a lot of people that are not good enough to make the
Right,
Olympic team. That's the
right,
truth. And because you're not good enough for the Olympic team, does that mean you can't pivot and do something else? No, maybe your happiness lies in other places. So instead of like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to
right,
go eat dirt,
right.
pivot.
Well, and that's the thing. Part of seeking your happiness is being honest with yourself. I grew up, I wanted to play third base for the Chicago Cubs. Didn't happen. I really wanted to do that, but I wasn't good enough. And at some point, I had to go, all right, well, I'm not good enough to do that. And I really wanted to. And I think it would have made me happy. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep playing softball with my friends until I can't run anymore. And I get the same enjoyment out of playing softball with the guys that I've been playing with for 20 years. It's enjoyable, it's fun, and it scratches that itch for me, and I focus professionally elsewhere. So you pivoting is what happens after you fail.
Mhm. Pivot.
Not the first time, but the third time, and pivot and before you pivot, you should really that's when you sit down and you do the inventory and say, "When were the last 10 times I was really happy?" And then look at that data, and a picture, an idea, a story will emerge from those answers. Follow that wherever it goes.
Mhm.
It's maddeningly simple to conceive of, but sometimes very difficult to live because you're constantly faced with failure and pivoting. But the results, if you do it right, is a happy life.
Well, and to your point, if we redefine failure and pivoting as something that's normal, it's a good thing, it's part of the journey, and we embrace it and accept
Mhm.
it and frame it in a positive light, and that's part of something that's part of like breathing and walking and failing and pivoting. That's just part of the journey. If we can redefine that, if we can help our listeners and viewers to redefine that, I think that would help a lot. Now,
I
I'm going to
agree.
ask you really quickly before our time is up. I was interested because my background is I'm known as the queen of boundaries, and I go and speak to businesses trying to help their high performers not burn out by using boundaries. And there's a way that I do that. But I noticed you had something in your bio that I thought was really interesting. You had gone to like you were on the road 9 months a year, over 400 cities all across America, analyzing all the diverse enterprises, and you realized that regardless of the job, the obstacles were mostly the same: unproductive, burnt out, and unmotivated teams. And
Yeah.
so I know that there's people that are listening right now or watching right now that they're some of the people that are on these teams
Mhm.
that are burnt out and they're unmotivated, and because of that they're not productive. What what would you say to them that are listening to you right now?
Well, there's probably 2 buckets, 2 reasons why you're burnt out. One is you're doing a job that you're not suited for and that doesn't make you happy. And you're staying in the job because you've got a spouse and kids and a mortgage and car payments and you need the money and it's a rough economy and I'm not just gonna quit my job and go join the circus, which is a rational thought process. But if you are in a job that you hate and you wake up in the morning and you're driving into work and you're gritting your teeth and you have to endure another day till Friday, that whole mentality of can't wait till it's Friday.
Mhm.
You're again, you're pissing away your life. You are wait the term I'm going to spend a day with her, I'm going to spend an hour with him. That's what you're doing. You're taking a finite resource. You can always make more money. You can't make more time in your life, right? You are spending a day that you're not going to get back. So why would you spend it doing something that doesn't help you? So one bucket of burnout is you're in the wrong place. Take the inventory, figure out what makes you happy, and pivot into an enterprise that makes you happy first and that you can make a living from. Second bucket is you're doing what you want to do, you're just doing too much of it. And it's eating you alive and your creative juices are not flowing anymore. You know, I've been in entertainment, so when I think of productivity, it's creativity and creating new things out of nothing. Um, in that situation, you have to understand your productivity the way an athlete understands his or her productivity. If you don't sleep and train and eat well and drink enough fluids, you are hampering your performance. So if you're working 90-hour weeks because you think if you just work harder, you'll make more money and you'll be happy, you won't. You're not Superman. I know a lot of people like to feel like, "Oh, I can do anything. I can work the night. I'm gonna be the guy that breaks through and does." Yeah, okay, that works every once in a while. But as a general formula for your life, you are burning out, you are, ruining the core creative spark that put you there in the first place. You have to tend to that. Sometimes if I'm working on a new script, I'll get out of my office. Yesterday, I sat at Venice Beach with the top down in my car and I wrote in my car, and it was great, and I'm literally thinking, "Man, it's the middle of the day, the sun is shining, I'm typing on my computer at the beach while everybody else is in an office doing something that they hate." You know, being grateful is a big part of it too. You have to you have to take care of yourself and nurture what it is that got you to where you are. So if you're burnt out, there's no shame in going to your boss or your supervisor and saying, "Man, I gotta cut back. I can't be working till 11 o'clock every night." It's not that I don't want to achieve this purpose that we're all working for. It's just I got nothing to offer. I need to recharge my batteries. I need a day off. I need a week off. I need to have Mark come in and talk to our group for a week and level us up again. There's again, it all comes back to knowing what makes you happy and putting that as the North Star in your life. If you know that coming through at work makes you happy and you're not being able to do that because you're putting in too many hours or you're working with too many idiots, do something about it, right? If you don't do something about it, you are wasting days and months and years that you will not get back.
You will not get back. Now, Mark, I know that there are listeners and viewers that are thinking, this guy's great. I want to know more about him. Where do you want them to go? I've got markdecarlospeaker.com. Is that where
That's
you
my
want them to
website,
go?
markdecarlospeaker.com, or just come to my house. Oh, it could happen. Um,
Okay.
yeah, markdecarlospeaker.com. I also do a lot of travel content, from my travel channel show where I was all over the place. Now we're going internationally. You can see that stuff on Instagram. I'm Mark DeCarlo TV on Instagram. Um, and I guess my message to people is happiness is way easier than we all think it is if you prioritize yourself and your happiness and realize that you don't have to work harder or longer to be happy. Be happy, then everything else, it's the Rosetta Stone for life. If you could find out what makes you happy and then always ask yourself, when I was losing the weight, before I took every bite, I would say, is this bite of Hostess blueberry pies, which I loved, is this gonna bring me closer to my goal of losing weight or push me further away? And it's gonna push me further away, so I don't have it, because what was more important to me was losing 80 pounds than the temporary delicious Hostess blueberry pie. And once you go through that cycle enough, it becomes easier and easier and easier to shun the things that you know aren't good for you. Now, did I still occasionally have a Hostess blueberry pie? I'm actually thinking about having one right now, just hearing the words. But, uh, no one and don't beat yourself up when you fall short. If you're always trying to do the right thing and you do the right thing 80% of the time, you're on the right track. If
I
if
love
you
it.
think if you think you're doing it perfectly 100% of the time, you're delusional
Yes.
because
There's no such
you're
thing.
not. You're not.
Well, and Mark, before you go, I want to say my kids were like super impressed with you because you being the voice of Hugh
Hugh Neutron.
Neutron. Yeah. I
Yes.
mean, they grew up with that and they were just like, "Oh my gosh." So I wanted to pass that along and give you the creds and kudos for that because you've got a
Thank
lot
you,
of fans
Dana.
out there that love that.
That's always great to hear. I got something from this fan, a fan of the Comic-Con, last last week. Someone made me a glow in the
Oh,
dark Hugh.
wow.
Isn't that cool?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Don't
See, that's
think.
what happens
That's
when you do what oh, don't think, yeah. When you do
Yeah.
what what makes you happy. So things unfold for you and you
Things
can
happen. You're in the zone. You got your mojo working. You're in the flow. Every culture has a different way of describing it, but it's the same physical thing. You're doing what you should be doing. And I
Mhm,
I would also say that when you're not doing what you should be doing, you know,
mhm.
you feel it, you just don't wanna deal with it. And the only person you're cheating by not dealing with it today is yourself because you pissed away today. What about tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow's a new day. That's what I call my private practice is New Day Psychological Services, today's a new day. So, you crapped yesterday, you crapped all over yesterday, didn't make good choices, feel bad about yourself, let it go. Today's a new day. New
Right.
opportunity to make new choices, do new things. It's a new day.
You can't change the past, and people that focus on it and dwell on it and beat themselves up over it I think it's a form of narcissism,
Mm,
frankly, that they
interesting.
think, "Oh, I should have." Yeah, you should have, but you didn't. So, you're gonna ruin today because you wanna self-flagellate as if, you're virtue signaling and, "Oh, I shouldn't have." Yeah, you didn't. No one's perfect. You're gonna screw up again.
Yeah.
The important thing is focusing on happiness and always be chasing that, focusing, doing it, and it's I'm not asking you to do stuff that makes you miserable or, I'm not saying get a root canal every day. Find
Woo-hoo-hoo.
find out what it is that makes you happy and then chase that, like, fearlessly chase it, and I guarantee you'll have a happier life. It's automatic. There's no way to do that correctly and not have it work. It is not possible.
I love this. Mark, I appreciate you so much of being willing to spend your precious time and your energy and your wisdom with me and all of Phoenix and Flame listeners and viewers. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Dana. And just the name of your show, Phoenix, that story. I've burnt to a crisp, I'm ashes, and then I'm going to rise up. That happens
Right.
every day to people. And
It
you have to, you can't start something new until whatever old is done.
is burnt to a crisp. Yep,
Burnt to a crisp.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Thank
Yeah, I loved
you.
spending time with you, and thanks for having me on your show.
Now, listeners, I know that you have seen,
Yeah,
heard Mark
bye-bye.
say say all kinds of things that you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, I have a best friend, I have a coworker, I have a family member that needs to hear what Mark has to say." Take this episode, copy and paste it, send it in text, send it an email, put it on your favorite social media platforms so that we can grow our Phoenix and Flame community and let people know you're not alone. I hope your day is going great. I hope the rest of your day is fantastic. I'm Dana on Phoenix and Flame.